Well, here we go. I've been promising videos, and so I'm going to try to do one on an average of one a week. And it'll just depend. And if it picks up a little bit and I can do more, then we will. And as I mentioned, I love Wayne Dyer. And so this is from his book, You'll See It When You Believe It. And we've always heard the other way around. I believe it when I see it. And so he really turns it around, and it makes a lot of sense if you'll pay close attention to some of the things that he shares. Have you ever noticed how most of us stay in our comfort zones? Oh, yeah. We talk about that a lot with the team that I have. Unless we're pushed, we stay right there and we don't budge. We miss out on so much by just staying in our comfort zone. We're just not adventurous. And you've heard people say, for instance, they don't like certain foods, and then they'll try something. They don't like it because it's white or green or yellow or whatever, or it smells funny or whatever. And then they try it and they like it. And that actually happened to my dad. This has been a lot of years ago. I was just looking at my notes here. You'll see me cheating here. But when I wrote this, my dad was, it was probably, I don't know, several years ago. But at the time this all happened, he was in his 60s. And he didn't want anything to do with cooked cabbage. And someone was talking about how good it was. And it was really good with certain foods that he actually did like. So he decided, well, maybe he ought to just try it. And he asked my mom to fix him cooked cabbage, which is so funny because he always complained how it smelled and all that. And guess what? He really liked it. It's just funny how we rob ourselves sometimes because we won't try things, or we will not get out of our comfort zone. And I've done that. I'm a little adventurous sometimes, and other times I'm a big chicken. It wasn't that long ago I actually let someone put I think it's called a red tail python around my neck, and I have this horrible fear of snakes. So when people saw the picture, they're like, Sherry has lost her mind. But I decided, a lot of people around me were doing it. It was a pet, of course, and I didn't like it. Oh no, I didn't like it. But sometimes you got to do something to overcome those fears, and I've actually been trying to do that on a lot of things. I really believe you can grow when you do that. So much in our minds. We place limits, we place boundaries, and I'll have to admit I didn't get a thrill out of holding, his name is Michael, the snake. I didn't get a thrill out of that, but I have to say that I do have some bragging rights now. And so we just got to not place so many limits and boundaries on ourselves. Wayne Dyer was sharing a story of how he chose to swim in a particular lake at the National Glacier Park, and the water was ice cold, and he tells his wife he thinks he'll just go take a swim. And of course everyone thinks he's lost his mind. It's really, really cold. And he said, I can make up my mind that I will not get cold. His mind was in control. He did not even consider the remote possibility that he would get cold. He swam for about 40 minutes and never got cold. Mind over matter, guys. And I know some other people who can do that. They can make up their mind. They're about to get a shot or whatever. They can just zone out where it doesn't seem so intimidating. It's just mind over matter. And it's something you have to teach yourself, and you have to be willing to do it. There's the old saying, go an extra mile. You're never crowded at the extra mile. You'll find nobody much goes where that extra mile is. Go the extra mile with your mind and see where it takes you. You'll be pretty surprised. We've heard this many times. I'll believe it when I see it. Did you know that every aspect of your life is affected by that thought? You probably didn't think of that. People go through life with that thought all the time. And that's a very narrow way to look at life. It only allows you to only believe in what you see. Think about that. That's definite limits and restrictions. That's only a tiny part of what you can get out of life. There's so much more out there that we don't see. We don't see the electricity. We see the wires. We see the plug-ins, we see our appliances or whatever, but we don't actually see the electricity, but you still pay your utility bill. You can't see your thoughts, but that doesn't make them real or not real. Doesn't make them not real. You'll see it when you believe it. This takes away limits to everything in your life and finds a way for a large range of wonderful human experience. You'll see it when you believe it. There's a difference. It's a great place to be. It's not all about positive thinking. You know, some people go, oh boy, is this going to be one of those positive thinking things? No, just enjoying life, about not being victimized by others and thinking well of yourself. That's okay. We should do that. You know, this works knowing somehow you're grander, that you're more divine and much more perfect than what we see when we look at each other. It's better to look beyond the face, the skin, to look deeper inside. It's about the inner self that no one else sees. It's like going through a gate and letting the gate shut behind you. Some call it growing or changing or different. Whatever name you give it is becoming aware of your inner self and who you want to be. No one out there has the control in how you act in any other way than what you choose. I tell my grandson all the time, he's very reactive. I said, you don't need to always react. Sometimes just respond. I don't think he's figured out the difference yet. But it's, you know, how we react to things a lot of times is how we bring something into our life. So the part of you that thinks the thought is essentially what humanity is. And that sounds a little deep, I know. But it is. That is who we are, our thoughts, our inner self. Most folks don't get that. They think it's the form or the outer person. That's what it is. You've heard the saying, you are old as you feel. Have you ever heard that? Well, don't let that older other person in. If that's the case, don't let that old person in. It is your thought process. And I am not going to sit here and say, if you'll just think young, you'll never age, because you will age. But don't become that person who thinks he's too old to enjoy life or things he once did. Your form will age, but keep your mind young. And I know lots of people, and I'm including my parents. They're both, you know, either 80 and 81. And I've seen them change their thought process over the last several years. Not as well, not feeling good, but kind of giving into, oh, we're getting old. There's so much that's up here, so much power. So who you are is your consciousness. And then it transcends all of that. So it transcends all of that. And then what, right? What I want you to think about is, why in the world would you ever want to occupy your mind with worry or anything that doesn't serve you living the life you want to live? Why would you let anybody come up here, anything, any bad thoughts, any negativity take residence? And understanding that never going to ever let anybody, any place that doesn't have love or harmony to offer you, enter this dimension where you do your living. You know, this is your territory. And maybe this dimension they can't come into. Maybe you'll have a place where they can. But don't let people come into your head. Don't let negative thoughts come into your head. And if someone sends you hate, and you react with hate, then you are reacting at the lowest level you can act. So why would we want to do that? If someone sends you hate and anger and you act indifferently, then you are acting average. I guess some of us act average just to avoid, right? But if someone sends you hate and anger and you react with love, because that is what you're full of, then that is what you will start expecting and seeing in your world. And it becomes a way of living. And you will go beyond and soar above. The result or the experience of going beyond your form You are only allowing the positive in your life. You know, guys, and I know that's hard. That's very, very hard. But once you reach that transformation, you'll expect this from everyone you meet. And it's funny how you'll start attracting a lot of it. Now there's always one out there, okay? They follow us around. But it will help you expand your thoughts, and you'll do totally different. And you know, you become what you think about. Christ said, as you think, so shall you be. All the spiritual masters all along the way have all said, be careful what you think, because it's going to expand into your life. What we think about is so much more powerful than I don't think the average person out there like me, we don't have a clue how powerful our thoughts are. If we did, I think we'd be a lot more careful. You need to see in your mind and your heart what it is you want. And there's like different kinds of exercises, but here's one. And you might want to grab a pen. Determine in detail exactly what you want. Believe it will make a positive difference in your life. Then relax. If possible, lie down and close your eyes. Experience the visualization with as many of the 5 senses as possible. If there's somewhere you want to go and it has a certain fragrance, smell the fragrance. If it's a beautiful mountainside and the sun is shining, close your eyes and see that. Be enthusiastic and get caught up in your visualization. That experience will start making it come to you. Visualization as often as you can, even when you can't lie down or close your eyes. Do that all the time. Visualize as often as you can. Visualization is seeing things happen before they actually happen, then doing things that need to be done to make them come true. So, simply put, visualization is making pictures in your mind. Getting a vision and keeping it steadfast in your mind will help you do things you need to do in order to make the vision materialize. Through the visualization technique, Wayne Dyer had shared in his book how he had helped a major college basketball team increase its free throw shooting percentage from around 50% to 87%. Now, anyone who's a sports enthusiast, you know that's huge, especially for free throws, right? And then another time, he helped a sales organization increase their sales by 300% in 1 year. That's huge. And all it was, it's mental engineering at its best. That's all it is. And it's winning thoughts. You know, there's a book out there called Winning Thoughts by Carl Mays. Get that. Work on it. Start working on stuff that will help you overcome any of the negativity. And when you get down to the nitty-gritty, after all is said and done, life is a frame of mind. It's your life, it's your frame, and you're the carpenter. You know, have you ever gone on, like, standing in line, or you go get on an elevator of sorts, and people are standing there and they're complaining. They're either complaining that the elevator is too slow, the line is too long, it's too hot, it's too cold, yeah, right? Do you ever hear yourself doing that? How about when you're around someone who's sick? Have you ever heard someone go, oh my goodness, I hope I don't get that? I say, well, of course not. I'm not going to tell myself that there's even a small chance I can contract some kind of disease or virus that's going around. I'm not going to tell my body it's okay. I'm not going to do that at all. People who are chronic complainers have one horrible event after another in their life. It follows them around because that's their frame of mind. I know it sounds a little harsh and maybe even a little hokey, but they've already seen the next negative thing coming. That's what's really bad. They just already see it. And your thoughts will expand into your life. I believe that. Any moment when you find yourself reacting in a way that's not good for you, when you are frustrated with the driver that's in front of you that's, driving you crazy while you're going down the road, don't let that affect your day. Will it make a difference in an hour or next week or next month? Probably not. So see, it really isn't a big deal. All of this expands into your life. What if you had a dream? And in this dream, you had everything you wanted in every way. The perfect life you've had pictured. And you wake up and the dream is gone, but you're saying, no, don't take my dream. It had gold in there. It had everything I wanted. Bring it back. Well, after they take it away, they would tell you it's just a dream. You can't get attached to that. That's the way you ought to view life. Instead of an 8-hour dream, make it an 80-year dream or a 90-year dream. And at the end of the dream, you don't want to be looking back at all the stuff you wish you still could have. Instead, let that dream be so real that you live that dream. I think that's something, it's something, guys, you're going to have to teach yourself. And this is a cute little story. It's an ancient story, and there was this hunter who went to the jungle, and he discovered this place with beautiful parrots. And he put a net out and captured a parrot and took him home. He took such good care of the parrot, and he talked to him every day. One day, he told the parrot that he was going back to the jungle, and what would he like for him to tell the other parrot friends. He said, tell them I'm very happy and I'm joyful, and I love being in my cage, being taken care of by you. The hunter says, I will tell them that. And he told the other parrots the story, that he was happy in his cage. And at that instant that he told that, a bird on one of the branches just keeled over and dropped dead. He was just stiff. The hunter assumed that he was killed with sorrow of what happened to his friend. So he went back and he told his parrot what had happened. Apparently, one of your friends missed you so much, he just dropped dead when I started telling him how happy you were. And at that very instant the hunter told the parrot that story, the parrot keeled over and dropped dead in his cage. He went stiff. The hunter was beside himself. How could this happen? He took the dead parrot out of the cage and threw him out on the woodpile. The instant the parrot landed on the woodpile, he flew up to a branch. And the hunter said, you tricked me. What is this? I thought you were dead. The parrot said, my friend back in the jungle was sending me a message. He told me by his actions, he said, in order for you to escape from your cage, you must die while you're alive. What does that mean? We're all in a cage. Some of our cages is our own making. How do you escape? You experience your own death. See yourself out of your body, gone. As you do that, you will separate yourself from the old baggage and have a new life and a new way of living waiting for you. So I hope that it's not too hokey or anything, but what it's really saying is give up the old ways. Give up the old life and start thinking positive every day. And let me tell you, when you first start really trying to be positive all the time, everything in the world will probably happen, but you just don't give up and you just see what happens. You have to kill off the old self to become the new self. You have to take time to train your mind and how to think different and toss out the negativity, all the old stuff that would take you down. You're a new person and fill your mind with new things and positive thoughts. And like tomorrow when you're having lunch, take a moment and think about all the things you take for granted. Think of, even just little stuff that we do, that our body does automatically. And we don't think about telling our heart to beat. We just go on. We just expect it to happen. Well, that's how we want this kind of process to happen to you. So there's all kinds of things that can go in on our mind, and it's a lot of training. It really, really is. But start teaching yourself and see yourself, the old self, die off, and this new person will come out and just be glowing and be happier, and watch all the positive stuff come into it'll come into your life more and more. But in the beginning, there will be lots of challenges because that's just the way it is. So you've got to really give that some thought. You have to really think about it, and it really sounds hokey to some people. I know it does, but guys, it really isn't. Just try it. Just try it. Wayne Dyer was amazing. He was an amazing author, and I loved watching his seminars and such. He had such a good heart, and he seemed to really want to reach out and help people become better. So that's all I want you to do, is become a better you. Thank you. I can't wait to see you again next week.